Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lincoln Journal-Star's Four Downs. Luke Mullin and Amie Just here with you with your Monday Nebraska football practice report. First, of course, wrapping things up after that big win over Akron, 68-0. Matt Rhule, a little bit of the reaction today, of course, playing the role of a head coach, never quite pleased, even after you beat an opponent as dominantly and thoroughly as Nebraska did. But in terms of that win, he kind of spoke about playing to the standard was something that they were telling the young guys about, getting the second and third stringers in the game. Just how important was that experience that Nebraska got late in that win?
It was really important because you never know how many opportunities like this you're going to get, not just to play like one series or two, but like extended playing time against another team's starters. Like that just doesn't happen very often. So it was good, in my opinion, for them to get as much reps as they can. And I think that opportunity will present itself again this week.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very young roster overall. Lots of freshmen and sophomores who got into that game. Rule said there wasn't much of a drop-off. He was impressed with how those second and third stringers played. So, again, we might see some of those guys this week if Nebraska can put together a similar effort against Houston Christian. But one of the big stories, of course, late in that game, after the game, actually, Luke Lindenmeyer there, big moment on the field. Congratulations to him and his girlfriend as well for their engagement. That was a quite the scene, but just from his teammates' perspective, you know, they were supportive of him. Matt Rhule said after the game, too, that Lindenmeyer had asked him about it, cleared everything. Just how special is that for this Husker football team to have a moment like that on the field?
Yeah, it was really special. One of my favorite parts about the engagement was actually watching the teammates around. Like Emmett Johnson was losing his mind. Matt Rhule was smiling. Like everybody was cheering. You know, they were doing the patented Luke cheer, you know, during it. It was really special. And I think that's just another way for them to bond over something that's not football related. And I'm just so happy for all of them. It was really special.
Yeah, that just stood out to me, the togetherness of the team. You know, we were down there on the field, and it was just seeing some of the guys, and, like, I'm sure not everybody knew what was going on, so there was a lot of surprise, you know, shock, and just that a lot of guys just hanging out, not wanting to leave the field there that moment with Luke Lindenmeyer. So very special at the end of that Akron game. But back to the personnel and the way that Nebraska showed up on the field, T.J. Lateef, freshman quarterback, came out there. Matt Rhule said today he did not look like a freshman. I think pretty much everybody who watched the game will agree with that sentiment. Comfortable in the pocket, you know, some very clear passing skills. Just how much confidence does it give you in this Nebraska offense, knowing that, hey, if Dylan Raiola were to go down, there's a guy there in Lateef who has all the skills to step in?
Yeah, I thought Lateef looked great. He looked poised. He looked confident. He was accurate. He made a lot of, you know, split-second decisions. Wish he would have muscled it out a little bit more to try to get in the end zone the first time, but it ended up being okay. So he's fun to watch. Somebody asked me for my mailbag if I think there's a quarterback controversy. I wouldn't go that far, but I thought the youngster looked good.
Definitely. One of those things, too, where, you know, we saw him in the spring a little bit, and, you know, he came along in the fall and just took that huge step, and now getting into a game, getting those game reps on film, only going to help Lateef's development there at quarterback. In around this Nebraska football facility, the focus is on to Houston Christian. The next opponent here coming to Lincoln, FCS opponent, so slightly different level that they play at, but you think, hey, they beat Akron so bad, what's an FCS team going to do? Well, they've got a good defense. Houston Christian, they're one of the better FCS teams. Again, they play some good competition down there. So it's going to be a slightly different challenge in that regard, some different personnel, a different style of football that they play compared to Akron. But for Nebraska, consistency is the message this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it consistent, you know, build on what you did last week. No taking a step back. I thought they did a really good job of the play the man, not the brand mentality last week. So they need to continue to carry that over into this week. Just because it's an FCS team doesn't mean anything. I mean, as we've seen around the country, Kent State almost lost to an FCS team, should have probably lost. And you see those every once in a while. Like Oregon last year had difficulty against an FCS team. So just because it's a different level doesn't mean it's not good competition.
Yeah, certainly no underestimating the opponent around here. That has been the message from Matt Rhule to this Husker football team. They'll continue making those improvements here in practice this week. We'll have all the further updates for you online at journalstar.com. That'll do it for today's practice report. We'll see you next time.